This is QTV News. I am Marietta Sidibe. Our top stories. 95 Gambia Armed Forces personnel redeployed to the police and sister forces. The move is approved by Cabinet after a request made from Ministry of Interior. Illegal factory in Nyambai Forest. NEA claims Chinese-owned factory operating without approval. TRRC might hold closed-door hearings. Outreach coordinator urges for the promotion of national reconciliation. Those are our top stories, and now the news in detail. The Ministry of Defense has ordered the Gambia Armed Forces (GAF) to redeploy 95 soldiers and officers to sister forces who are struggling with capacity gaps following the government's decision to place a moratorium on recruitment. For more in this report, let's join Babakar C.
In an exclusive telephone interview with Army spokesperson Major Lamin Sanyang, who confirmed to QTV that the mass redeployment is in reaction to a cabinet decision on the request made by the Ministry of Interior on behalf of the various departments, including the Police Force, Immigration Department, Fire and Rescue Service, and drug law enforcement agencies. The Ministry of Defense wrote to us to redeploy them back to the police and other departments. We have started the process. We have already called them and briefed them about this development. Among them are both officers and soldiers, totaling 95. 86 among them are police officers, said Major Lamin Sanyang. According to him, the officers moved to the army through department transfer based on the directive of former President Yahya Jammeh. After the new dispensation came, there has been a moratorium of recruitment for GAF and the Interior, which has affected some sister forces in terms of human resources capacity gap. As a result of that, they requested through the Cabinet of the Ministry of Defense to get their people back. President Adama Barrow last year announced that the army would be downsized as part of security reforms, but according to Major Sanyang, the redeployment of security personnel back to their original forces was not meant to downsize the army.
A Chinese factory is reported to be illegally operating in Nyambai Forest. According to the 17th April edition of the Fourier newspaper, the allegation was made by Lamin Samate, Program Officer at the Environmental Legislation Unit of the National Environment Agency. Our reporter Babakar Sise investigated the matter, and here are his findings.
In an interview with QTV, Head of Technical Unit, Department of Forestry, Keba Jammeh, says that for the past 3 years that the factory has been operating in Nyambai Forest, its products can be found nowhere in the Gambian markets.
The Chinese factory never saw any evidence of what they are producing. He has been asked, he has been aware, what are you producing, what are the factory's products? He never tells any concrete stories about that. I cannot imagine, we cannot imagine when there is a factory almost 1, 2 to 3 years. You go outside, look for a product, you never seen a product anywhere. Even a small scale factory, small scale enterprise. Typical example like beekeeping. When you go there on the highway, you see the product. If you go to Canifing, the Jewel Brew, you will see different type of drinks. But this one we have never come across. We have even made a research throughout the entire urban area, Brikama Market, Serakunda Market, Canifing, Banjul. We have never seen a product. So we cannot be convinced. We don't know why this Chinese factory be here.
Mr. Jammeh also says he believes that the health of the employees and that of the general public is at risk, and that pollution resulting from the factory's activities is destroying the environment.
And the saddest part you have seen, the workers. How black these people, they look like. I have said in my past interview, within the period 3 years, these people can die. Our trees are dying. Much more a human being here. You don't know what they are. They are as black as tarmac road. So what are these people doing? They even don't know. When you ask them, they don't know what they are doing. Somebody as a staff, you are working, you don't know what you are doing. We also learned that impact assessment has been done here. By who? You've done an impact assessment in somebody's area, particularly an area like forestry. Forestry is not aware of that impact assessment. The danger to the trees, the danger to the water ground. You know the pipelines is here of the Nawek. Nawek pipelines are here. You have seen this. So it means we are drinking contaminated water.
According to Foria newspaper dated 17th April, a program officer at the Environmental Legislation Unit of the National Environment Agency, Lamin Samate, revealed that his agency received an application from the Chinese, which stated the factory would recycle all tires to make fuel using a technology called pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is the thermal decomposition of organic materials at high temperatures above 400 degrees Celsius. Mr. Samate is also reported to have said that no environmental approval was granted to the Chinese and that their application was incomplete. During our visit to Nyambai Forest, the Chinese would neither let us in nor grant us an interview, but we found evidence of environmental damage. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission continues to hold public hearings for witnesses, alleged perpetrators and victims of human rights violation. The Commission's outreach coordinator says the TRRC might hold indoor hearings for certain sensitive cases. He made this disclosure while speaking to QTV in an exclusive interview. And Sumana Isonyasi reports.
The outreach coordinator of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, Imran Dabo, says that the TRRC might provide indoor hearings for certain categories of witnesses. He mentioned, among others, victims or alleged perpetrators of rape, the former president's witchcraft episode, and HIV and AIDS treatment program. He was speaking in an exclusive interview with QTV on a wide range of issues. He said the Commission has developed various processes to be employed to provide space for witnesses who do not want to appear in a public hearing.
There are different hearing processes that the TRRC can facilitate or can provide, but it would depend largely on what the victim's situation is and what their needs are. So for cases, for example, like the HIV treatment, we are all aware that certain things are very stigmatic in the Gambia. In our social context, a lot of issues may cause stigmatism if put out in the open. So, for example, HIV is one of those. We understand that these victims have been put through quite a lot during the treatment period that they underwent with the former president, and it's not something that is easily, one can easily come out and just put to the entire country. So the TRRC has processes where we can provide closed door hearings or in-camera hearings where the person will not appear as the normal hearings are on live TV and explain what had happened to them. But we can provide a situation where their faces or their identity would be hidden and their voices will be distorted so that they can still tell their story to the country, because it is important for us to know what was going on, but to do it in a way where it will not cause them more harm. So as we say, the TRRC is a victim-centered TRRC, or a victim-centered approach is what we take. So we always have it in mind to make sure we don't put the victims or witnesses in any more trauma than they have already gone through. So we can provide these kind of hearings where it is necessary. What we do usually is when the witness is giving their statement, we would ask, do you want to conduct this hearing as a public hearing, or do you want to do it in private, or do you want to in fact appear? Because it is possible also to take somebody's statement without them appearing in any of the hearings, but it would help the record that we are trying to gather and put together. So all of these things are possible. So I would say to anybody who has gone through any of these, for example, rape also is a big issue. And we know that there are cases or reported cases of rape that had happened as well as other sexual violences, in fact, that have happened during the past. So all of these victims may not want to come out in the open, and they may see these hearings now and think that, oh, I don't want to go through this whole process of coming to the entire country and saying this and then going out and people pointing at me saying that this, is what happened to this person. So for all of these people, rape, the HIV cases, the witch hunt, any issue, in fact, that the witness wants to come forward, any witness wants to bring to the TRRC, you can come in. We can provide these ways of ensuring your confidentiality and your security as well, so as to be able to tell your truth, share your truth, but also maintain your dignity. So we will provide ways of covering your voice to not be easily or recognizable, but also your appearance. If you don't even want to appear, also we will facilitate that. So it should not be a barrier for any witness or any victim to come forward. The TRRC will focus on making sure that you put your statement in the most easy way and least traumatic, basically, way that you can bring your statement.
Finally, what would you say to potential witnesses, in terms of encouraging them to come forward and give their testimonies?
Yes, we would like to say that I know there are worries. There will always be concerns because what happened here was traumatic, as we can see from what has transpired already in the hearings. But we are assuring witnesses that the TRRC, as I just said, is a is a victim-focused process. So we make sure that we have all these measures calculated and put in place to make sure that victims won't be re-traumatized. So we are assuring everybody, even if you don't want to come to the TRRC, we will be providing numbers, or we do provide telephone numbers that you can call. And sometimes if it is considered you don't want to come to the TRRC because you don't want to, maybe you are worried that you will be seen coming in or out of the TRRC, you can talk to us and we can facilitate for somebody to meet you, or for our statement takers and investigators to meet you in a place that would be more comfortable for you, that would be more confidential, for you. And we can take your statements there.
Meanwhile, he implores Gambians to promote national reconciliation as the country deals with the scale of alleged atrocities and human rights violations of 22 years of former President Jammeh's rule. Ansumana Isonyasi for QTV News.
Finally, in sports, awards were handed out to outstanding sports personalities in different disciplines by the Sport Journalists Association of the Gambia on Saturday night at the 10th edition of the National Sports Awards. Our sports reporter, Momodu Gajaga, was at the awards ceremony and he can bring us more details.
At a star-studded evening, athletes in variety of sports who achieved the most in 2018 sporting year were recognized for their exceptional performances by the Gambia's sports press. Hundreds came to see their family members, friends or loved ones as they were honored. Mariama Sala, an athletics coach, won the Female Coach of the Year award. She guided the Gambia to several regional and international competitions such as the Olympic Games, the All-Africa Games and the Commonwealth Games.
Well, amusing. I'm I'm really happy. Yeah, it's been long overdue, I can see, but this is the best time for me. Yeah.
Was it something you were expecting?
Yeah, definitely I was, because I know what I stand for. Yeah.
Will it be extra motivation for you?
Yeah, extra, definitely. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, but I thank God. Yeah, this is the right time anyway. God's time is the best. So.
Who are you going to dedicate this award to?
To my kids. Yeah.
Other awards went to Hoyen Tan, who was named the local base athlete of the year, a wrestler who's been undefeated in more than a dozen bouts. Football referee of the year went to Lamin Jammeh, and Suleiman Kuyate scooped the male coach of the year award after winning the 2018 league title with Gamtel FC. There were also special awards for those with remarkable achievements in their sporting careers. Among them, Cherno Samba, retired footballer, who played for England at youth level and the Gambia at senior level during the 2008 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers.
As a football coach now in England, I can't help but constantly think about ways to bring the Scorpions in the world stage. Ways that will allow access to tools and resources needed to build unbreakable teams at grassroots levels. In 2004, I started a football club, the Cherno Samba Academy, and formed it to a Sanga football club, an initiative led by my partner Harry Gerber and myself. I met Harry when I was 10 years old in England. He was my coach and later became my agent. After playing for England from under 17s to all the way to the under 21s, Harry shared the idea of giving back to the country of my birth, knowing the potential and skills of young Gambians in football. I jumped at it straight away, and today Samga is being a football club that is playing in the top league in Gambia. Over the years, the love and support I've received, and recently, after launching my autobiography, Still in the Game, is overwhelming. Without a doubt, I know I want to continue to give back in the most meaningful ways with lasting impact, especially in the Gambia. To the Sports Journalism Association of the Gambia, the government of the Gambia, fans and all the presents here today, thank you so much. And this award, I'm very honored and I'm so grateful.
Dignitaries in attendance includes the First Lady, Fatoumata Bah Barrow, Justice Minister Abubakar Tambadou, Omar Amadou Jallow, and Senegalese Sports Minister Matar Bah. Mamoudou Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, a recap of our main stories. The Ministry of Defense has ordered the Gambia Armed Forces (GAF) to redeploy 95 soldiers and officers to sister forces who are struggling with capacity gaps following the government's decision to place a moratorium on recruitment. A Chinese factory is reported to be illegally operating in Nyambai Forest. According to the 17th April edition of Foreign newspaper, the allegation was made by Lamin Samate, Program Officer at the Environmental Legislation Unit of the National Environment Agency. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission continues to hold public hearings for witnesses, alleged perpetrators and victims of human rights violation. The Commission's outreach coordinator says the TRRC might hold indoor hearings for certain sensitive cases. He made this disclosure while speaking to QTV in an exclusive interview. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thank you for watching.